Skinner, Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Alan Cochrane and Emily Dean. My voice is going already, it's not good. You can text us on 8 12 15, please do. Or you can follow us on Twitter at Frank on the Radio. Please don't. No, I didn't mean that. It's all right to follow us on Twitter if that's what you feel you must do. We all have our own lights to follow in life. This morning's phone in. Are there any nice people who smoke cigars? I was walking across Waterloo Bridge the other morning. I saw a sort of city boy type chap, and he was smoking a cigar. And I thought, what is it about cigars? Do quite ordinary people smoke cigars and something in the cigar makes them horrible? Or are horrible people attracted to cigars?
I don't know, but in general, I never trust a cigar smoker.
No. I just think
their politics will be quite right-wing.
Yeah, exactly.
If
I
I'm
bet
honest.
there's a few upset cigar smokers this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Probably a bad time for me to admit that I smoke cigars. Isn't
You
it?
don't smoke cigars.
How would you know?
I just know you don't.
I can tell from that shirt.
Exactly.
You're so un-cigar smoker, it's not true.
The shirt's got a bit of sort of Central American... You know, I can imagine there's some panpipes in the breast pocket.
There are?
Yeah.
And there are
rather than a cigar.
some cigars
think
in my
that
jeans
could
What, a
pocket.
slim panatella?
I think that shirt could be one of those holiday purchases the Cockrell's got on. Do you know what I mean?
You know when you're abroad and you say, yeah, I'll buy some of these. I bought some, what I would call...
I like it.
I don't know if... I hope this is all right. Muslim trousers. So the men's trousers,
I'm not sure
but
it
with
is.
a lot of material
like
around it.
a harem pant, Frank.
Yeah.
I feel like my shirt's off the hook now you've said that.
Oh,
That's good.
Your shirt's off the hook. I thought it was made to measure. No, and it was... and I bought them and I thought, I'm going to wear these quite a lot when I get home.
Oh, we've all done it.
Yeah.
I've got sarongs coming out of my ears.
That's the wrong trousers.
Yeah.
Oh, fabulous.
Oh.
That was the it was the Wallace and Gromit on holiday. Yeah, it's like on the buses on holiday. All those. That's what they used to do when they made a spin-off movie from a sitcom. They used to take them on holiday. That was how they did it.
I didn't like it. I didn't like
Holiday
it when
on
the
the buses.
sitcom characters were on film. Like, I never liked that so much, did you?
Well, there was good and bad, but you know, I find there's good and bad in everyone.
Certainly in the clothing choices in this room.
I can't believe that my shirt wasn't mentioned until we were on air. There's an air of ambush about this.
No, it's. Well, I mean, it's hard to discuss.
Yeah, it's not
clothing
great
on
for
air.
radio, is it?
No. But when have we ever worried about that? So, can I say I haven't been well again this week? And what's happened to me? My illness is 48 hours, that's the deal.
Oh, really?
This one has been 2 weeks.
Oh, dear.
It's been dragging away, and I've missed... well, first of all, I always walk into my office. Yes, walk into my office past Trafalgar Square in the morning. That's the kind of swinging 60s London lifestyle.
Yes.
I usually go in on a bicycle going, England swings like a pendulum do. Bobby's on bicycles 2x2. Westminster Abbey, the Tower of Big Ben. But I didn't, because I was ill, so I stayed in bed. And had I walked in at my normal time, my normal route, I would have seen them filming the Doctor Who 50th anniversary special in Trafalgar Square. I would have seen Matt Smith hanging from the bottom of the TARDIS.
Wow.
Oh.
And Jen Louise Coleman peering out. And that was the one morning I didn't go and I missed it.
Spoiler alert.
Well, I can't help
There's
it.
going to be a TARDIS in it.
It's
If
not
they're going to
that
film,
much.
yeah.
I mean, if you want, it's basically one of my parents' elderly friends in a goblin mask. That's what you would have missed.
Well, not the first time they've been in a goblin mask. I wouldn't be surprised. I've never heard them called that before. I thought they were gimp masks. But anyway, and also I was invited to Graham Norton's 50th birthday party. I couldn't go to that.
I know, I was so jealous.
I've missed
You've
everything.
missed a lot, Frank.
Yeah. Mind you, I quite like missing stuff. It's very 2005, I think, because people don't miss anything anymore. You know what I mean? If you say,
Oh, I see what you mean. 'cause you
there's
just
a really
catch
good
up.
programme on the other night. Oh, it's all right. I'll just watch it on iPlayer. Or oh man, did you see that tackle on? I'll just watch it be on YouTube.
True.
I miss missing things.
You miss missing things.
I do. Yeah. And I'm antiviral, as you know.
Yeah, you don't like virals.
I think virals. I think people like iPhone videos, virals on YouTube and stuff. I think in the old days, if you went, say, swinging on a rope with the kids and the rope broke, and you landed in the water, you'd tell that story and you'd get big laughs telling the story, and you'd embroider it a bit. You'd explain the facials of the kids and all that, and it'd be a rich literary experience. Whereas virals are sort of anecdotes for the illiterate. They say, "Oh, this happened. Look," and that's it. That's the end of the experience. Eh? This is Thatcher's Britain.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We were talking about stuff. Well, I was talking about stuff I've missed this week because I've been ill. I'd like to hear of, like, generally, you look back on your life and you think, oh, I do regret missing. And I think I've mentioned on here before that I stayed up to watch the moon landing when I was a little kid, and I fell asleep just before they got out the lunar module and missed the whole moonwalk. Yeah. Well, I mean, I've lived in constant regret, as you can imagine. Constant Regret is a small village in Leicestershire.
It's nice.
Sort of place a referee would come from.
I missed
Mr.
out
Dave
on...
Etherington, brackets, Constant Regret.
I missed out on tickets to Live Aid, the original and best, because I had to go and stay with the BBC's Head of History in Norfolk, my parents' friends.
When you say you had to go and stay with them, what
My
was
parents would often do
you
that.
doing a dig?
No, we'd often get invited to kind of fun things with friends, and then we'd have to go and stay with people from the BBC. Yeah, so I wasn't best pleased about that.
Yeah, but there's a lot of rubbish on it.
Do you
Wasn't
think
there, Live
so?
Aid? There was some brilliant stuff and some rubbish.
I'd still like to have gone. I also missed out on a role as Meryl Streep's daughter, as you know.
Indeed, in The French Lieutenant's Woman.
Very good, Frank. Yeah.
Not in The Iron Lady, if that's what you were thinking. No, you think you could have played that part? I think I could, actually. I'll tell you what I miss out on a lot. Now, this sounds slightly... I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but when I was a younger man, I used to notice attractive women and stuff in the street.
In a leery way.
Well, in a sort of a, this is what keeps the species going kind of
red-blooded male way.
Well, I don't like the phrase red-blooded male. It's an
I didn't
excuse.
think you would.
Sort of thing
It's a bit
people who
cigar
smoke. It
smoker.
is, very cigar. But I'd find out that my girlfriend says to me, that was a short skirt, and I've completely not noticed. I know this is to do with age and the failing of various facilities. But...
I want to know about the facilities.
Someone showed me a
been
picture,
checking the
for
public
example,
toilets?
of Vivienne Westwood receiving her... and it's a very famous picture. This,
I've seen it.
Receiving, I think it's her OBE in the 90s. And she's doing a big twirl outside, and her dress is rising up. And she's commando.
Oh.
Like another person in this room today, apparently. But we won't go into any details. She's commando, and somebody said to me...
Can I just say it's not me?
And somebody said to me, what about that for a picture? And I said, it's a lovely lining. I'm looking at the garment.
Looked at the fabric.
Yeah, I've completely... So
off the
that's
horse.
gone. That's gone. So I used to have that. When a relationship splits up, you're mortified and heartbroken, and then about 2 hours in, you think of the people you've said no to during the course of that relationship as an act of loyalty. Yeah.
Shaquille O'Neal. What about that one?
You said no to
Yes.
him. No.
It was at Planet Hollywood.
Did you really?
Yes. He wanted to... I know that the phrase party was used.
Oh,
I don't
really?
think he was thinking cupcakes. I don't think that's what
might have
Shaquille
been.
O'Neal had on his mind. He invited me back to his hotel room. And my friend
shack
was
attack.
drunk, so
Is that what
very
they call it?
good.
A shack attack?
I had to take her home. So because of her inability to control her alcohol consumption, I could have been Emily O'Neill, Frank.
Oh, no. That is awful.
Yeah.
I just thought of one there as well.
Go on.
I think people...
Oh, come on. I've done Shaquille
I just
O'Neal.
can't. Paulie Yates. I think people, instead of saying...
Alan?
when they, if people make a suggestion, you should say, no, I'm in a relationship. But have you got a card or anything?
I can't
Business
say that
card.
to Shaquille O'Neal.
Then I'll call you if anything goes wrong. You stick a rain check. Come on, Alan, your turn.
You've got to have one. Come on.
Maybe Alan just never says no anyway.
I'm just a girl who can't say no.
Yeah. That song ought to be, I'm just a girl who can't say it. Yeah, so what do you feel you've missed out on? Things that you've missed in life?
Tell us.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? I think we've set up a sort of a texting. I'm predicting nothing.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
We were talking about things we've missed out on. It transpired mine was an evening with Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I honestly don't think I'd turned down
No.
meeting with Shaquille O'Neal.
Really?
When I'm relieved I turned down that night with Michael Jordan, looking back on it, but who knows? We've also had a text in.
Jordan, more like
I never turned that
Actually
down.
was Jordan.
Eddie Jordan.
Yeah.
Is it called Eddie?
And
Yeah.
I didn't turn it down.
Okay.
He's one of the notches on the... Anyway, we'll move on. We've had a text in, slightly bittersweet one actually.
My favourite.
From Phil in Mablethorpe. Hi Frank, Emily and Alan, I've missed life. Being in full-time employment, I didn't socialise, therefore I'm still single at 42. Never been in love, and he's put a little sad face. Is it called an emoticon? Is that what
Yes, emoticon.
Which I think is what it should
I know
be
that.
used for.
Because he was in full-term employment, he missed out on his social life. That
Yeah.
says something about modern Britain.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But full-term employment is seen as something that just takes out your whole...
yeah.
I did that, and I had a social life as well.
Well, let's not laugh at Phil. He's made his decisions.
How
and he's let us know.
old's Phil?
He's 41.
Oh, Phil, you got
42.
ages, still ages.
Yeah.
Still young.
There's hope for you
Was
yet,
it Ma
Phil.
Rainey? Was it Ma Rainey who started painting age 80 and then became a successful
Is that
artist,
right?
made a lot of money?
Oh, that sounds good.
Phil, give your job up and get loving.
Yeah.
That's my
We've
advice.
had another sad face.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I think Phil's been ironic, is he?
I'm not sure.
Oh God,
If he is, then it's not carrying across through text
it's
form.
difficult,
It's
isn't
the
it?
problem
That's,
with this form
that's one of the
communication.
limitations, the emoticon.
Yes, it is.
Matt says, I missed out on my teens and early 20s due to alcohol. Sober 11 years in May. God, it's awful. Night's move on Alan. If he's ever in Reigate, there's a nice garden centre at the end of my road. I'm buying.
He's bi.
He's buying.
Oh, sorry. Well, I missed. I mean, I don't think regard that as missing out. I think that my very heavily drunken teens and 20s were the jewel in the crown as far as my existence is concerned.
Oh, lovely.
I don't think people would do it if it wasn't lovely. Okay.
I suppose not.
I had this very conversation with Michael Parkinson, who tried to lead me on his show into a sort of my battle with the bottle, and I said, actually, I think it was, looking back, it was brilliant. I said most people who do it, heavy drinking, it's because they really like it. It's fun and you have adventures. And, you can sing on the bus.
Nice.
Indeed, it wasn't what he wanted.
Singing on the
Grumpy.
bus is less popular.
You know,
now,
we're
isn't it?
talking
He's
about...
only really happy when he's talking to Jamie Cullum.
Oh, Marky.
Yeah.
We're talking about missing out on things. Can I tell you what we've missed out on this week? I think we all know.
I think I know what's
everyone
coming.
in this room. We didn't get a Sony nomination.
No. Which I know doesn't sound much, but in radio, not getting a Sony nomination
It's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, it's like not having a home. in normal society. It is, though. It's
There's a stigma.
Can I tell
there
you,
is a stigma.
Frank, I did something, I've got to fess up now.
Go on.
I took it quite seriously this year. I listened to it live.
Oh, did you?
Yes, I did, I'm afraid so.
Oh, God. Did you put a dress on? Especially a
No,
nice
but I
dress.
got quite competitive.
I did.
Like a mad old lady nominated for an Oscar. No, I didn't put a dress on. But I did, as I sat there with my InStar colleagues, and they all listened, and they went,
Oh, they listened as
yes.
well? That was a mistake.
Terrible. And they all went, oh. And they went, can you be in this category? And I went, no. And they went, oh. And then it came to the end, it was clear we weren't going to win anything. So do you know what I did? I went a bit Big Brother winner being evicted, Big Brother contestant. I went,
Told you.
I didn't want to win anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And I threw you and Alan totally under the bus. And I said, I'm not worried, but I think Frank and Alan will be really upset.
I can't believe you did
I did
that.
say that,
You were
yeah.
right. But even so.
Sorry.
Now, I've really learnt something this week, and that was the judges' addresses. And I tell you something, it's very hard now. I think Green Park for 2 hours. It's very hard to find dog excrement. I ended up having to on bag.
Frank Skinner.
On Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Frank, why didn't we get a Sony nomination?
Oh, come on. I've told you never to ask me that. Well, because we're not as good as we think we are. No one is as good as they think they are at
Really?
anything.
That's a good point, that.
It is.
Mainly their jobs and football, I think, but yeah.
You know,
like this
the
comes under that
physicals.
umbrella. The physicals.
Generally, people think they're better at stuff than they are. And it's good every now and again to be brought down to earth.
Okay.
That's what I think.
Yeah, we were definitely getting
We were beaten by
lofty.
Kate Lawler in the best entertainment category.
Wow.
She was one of those Big Brother people, wasn't she?
She was, yeah. Well, she was in what perhaps the best documentary that's ever been made.
What was that?
It was about when she came out of Big Brother.
Oh, okay.
And she had a very overprotective dad.
I like that she only stuck to that genre when she did TV shows.
Her dad was absolutely brilliant in it, though. He was really... There was a bit where he tries to force some paparazzi off the road in his car. It's really brilliant. But when she comes out of the family are gathered, and she's just come out, she's just one big brother, and he says to her, right, now you go into the living room. This is what he says when they get to the house. You go into the living room, and you apologise to your grandmother and your mum for your language. And she learnt, and now she's got a Sony nomination, so respect to her.
But some of the other absolute...
Jeff Lloyd got one.
Yeah. Ronnie Wood.
Ronnie Wood and the OC got 3. Actually, I
Yeah.
think Jeff Lloyd got 2. One for an animal competition
Oh, did he?
and one for his show generally. And the OC got 3. Mm-hmm. And I think Vicky Blight and Sarah Chapman. Absolutely done brilliantly. Mm-hmm. I feel now. Well, this morning I came in, the door wasn't working on the studio. I feel that's the beginning.
I didn't just get blanked by the security guard. I got a dirty look.
I'm
not joking.
I found him much friendlier this morning. I think he felt I'd been taken down a peg, and now he could see me as an equal. But I'm thinking I might be the victim of a trap. I'm just putting this theory to you. I wouldn't say this on air.
Oh, don't do conspiracy theories when you haven't won. It's
but I did
embarrassing.
Jeff Lloyd's show recently, and he said to me, "So what do you think about the Sonys?" And I was led into criticising the night out and what a tedious ceremony it was. I might have even mentioned the food. I hope I didn't.
You didn't mention Tony Hadley eating my portion, did you?
No, that's a private thing.
Okay.
But I'm thinking now that maybe that was that Jeff was trapping me into that, knowing that I wouldn't get a nomination, and he'd walk straight in. Or maybe the organisation, because contract time. What a good time to not get a Sony nomination. I don't think I'm getting paranoid about this, but they did put out the interview as a podcast just in case the Sony judges missed it first time round. Anyway, I don't care. I've got 2 other awards in 25 years of comedy. So that's the kind of kind of success rate I've got.
That's not the winning that counts.
No.
It's the getting off with the winner afterwards, I always say. That's what counts.
But we won't be there this time.
No, I know. But that doesn't stop me standing outside the hotel.
I like that the Cockerel still wants to go to the ceremony.
Cockerel really wants to go there. I think he wants to do some Kanye West on the stage. I'm going to let you finish. But Frank Skinner, that's what he's going to do.
He'd go to Thatcher's funeral if he knew there was free nibbles.
True.
I've been invited. Obviously.
Talking of Thatcher, we've just had a text in.
What? Don't tell me she's come back to life.
No, Jeff Marshall says,
okay.
I blame you for getting the audience first singing Ding Dong back in 1990 when she stood down.
That is true, that when she stood down, stand down Margaret, stand down Queen, stand down Margaret. When she stood down then, I was doing a comedy club in Birmingham, and I began the night by getting the whole crowd to sing Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead. I'm sorry for any of our pagan listeners, by the way. That's not a blanket anti-witchcraft thing. It's just what the Wicked Witch thing. Yeah, and now it's become a national, could be number 1 this week. It's great that the people have spoken.
They have.
We need to talk about the Margaret Thatcher thing, I think, because it's been an interesting phenomenon, generally. And, of course, someone else who I turned down in the 90s.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
I've thought of something that I did miss out on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, my milk. My school milk. I never got it, did I?
See,
While we're
I
on
did
the
have
subject.
it.
Did you?
I got in under the wire just before.
What was it like? Tell us about what it was like back
Free
in the
school
day, old
milk.
Frankie.
Oh, you'd be sitting in your classroom in the morning, hear the rattle of the crates going down
I'd have liked
the
that as
hallway.
well.
Yeah, it was lovely. And in the cold weather, it was frozen solid.
Actually,
You couldn't get your straw in.
I have a vague recollection of getting it and then it being taken away. I wonder what that was all about.
Yeah.
Well, I'd rather, as you know, swallow strychnine than divulge the date of my birth.
Yes.
But there was
I thought you were going to say then drink milk.
that too. But there was a brief period I do remember getting it, and it was very warm, Frank, wasn't it? And the little straws pierced the foil. I quite liked it. We
It
only
was
had
lovely, yes. Blue tits, of course. That if they got there first, they'd go through the foil. Yeah. But it was taken away. I think what you're intimating, Alan, is that it was taken away by the current the Minister of Education at the time, who was Margaret Thatcher,
Yes.
milk snatcher.
Yeah,
who is no longer with us,
indeed.
No.
of course.
Moved on.
And it's caused a kerfuffle.
Turns out she was quite polarising.
Furore, actually, is a very apt term.
Yes.
It's a bit like Fura, but also it's got a...
It's got a different
Yeah.
syllable.
I'm not one for the dancing on the graves thing, though.
Can I ask, why is it that we're not meant to speak ill of the dead? Because I don't understand that. I mean, if there's anybody listening that I know, can I just give you all permission to speak ill of me once I'm dead and not before it? That seems like a
you're
better
all right
way
with
of
that.
doing it.
Yeah, I think that
Noted.
I think the gloves are off now on speaking ill of the dead.
Don't you think it would be better for us as media figures if there was a rule that you speak ill once a person is dead? Imagine how pleasurable Googling ourselves would be if people went, oh no, we can't slag them off yet.
They're still alive.
They're still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we would have a right old time Googling ourselves and only reading praise.
Oh, I'd Google myself 2 or 3 times every morning.
Yeah.
At least. But no, as it is, we can't, because people are speaking ill of us while we're alive.
That's very true.
But
No, I think you're right.
I honestly...
I think the tide is turning, though.
I'd like people to slag me right off when I'm gone.
Well, I mean, Mrs.
Your wish
Thatcher...
is our command.
She's... people, I mean, they do think now that Ding Dong the Witch is dead, it might be number one.
And it turns out you're responsible.
Well, no, I wouldn't go so far as to say that. But Liza Minnelli's over here at the moment. She must be confused. God, Mom's still popular. Brilliant. Number one? What are you talking about? But it's... there's been a lot of people on the telly saying what a warm and kind person she was once she got to know.
There's been a lot of people everywhere
Yes.
saying she was a divisive figure. I'm surprised we haven't used that phrase yet.
Yeah.
Surely, that's all I've heard this week. She was a divisive figure. And
You
whatever.
can't-
People
you
have said
can't
whatever a lot,
judge,
haven't they?
I met the German cannibal Armand Mivers once at a comic
Did you?
book convention.
Oh my God.
He was a
worked with them all. Just worked
perfectly
with them all.
affable...
You had to top my
Yeah,
Shaquille
no.
O'Neal story.
no,
Is it true?
I said no.
You lived to tell the tale.
Yeah, I'd had quite a lot of garlic that week, I don't think. But he was fine. He was, you would never have guessed.
I don't know whether or
You
not
see,
to
you
believe
were.
this story.
I reckon when we were proper Thatcher's children. I think you were going through your slight beardy weirdy phase then, Frank.
Well, I was...
You had your bell-bottom pitch invader trousers and long scarf, didn't you?
Well, when she came into power, I was a student.
You're quite red wedge, I reckon.
Yeah, and then I did have a red wedge. It was a sweat rash. and then I became unemployed for 3.5 years, and
One
then I
in 10.
became an alternative comedian. So this is the 3 areas, short of becoming a minor, it was the 3 areas of life that most hated Margaret Thatcher. I think last week I mentioned Smethwick Supplementary Benefit Office. Let me mention it again. I think I mentioned it at the Brighton Conference, actually. But on the wall there, someone had written, this is the Supplementary Benefit Office in the early 80s. Someone had written, "Cheer up, money isn't everything." M. Thatcher. But I can't join in with. I tell you what I don't like. I don't like to hear atheists saying that they hope that she burns in hellfire.
Oh, they can't claim that as their own.
No, that's our area.
That's your manor, is what I'll say.
Yeah,
Hell is your manor.
I'm letting them off with Christmas.
Yeah.
But I'm not. They're not getting hellfire. George Galloway. I'm assuming he's an atheist. George Galloway. I bet he likes a cigar.
He's such a
does
cigar
like a
smoker.
Oh, he loves one.
I think he might be cigar smoker of the year.
Yeah.
Let's check.
And he wanted her to burn in hell. If I was the sort of person who said things about what ended up as a tragic, frightened, weak old lady, if I was the sort of person who said that, I would have voted for Margaret Thatcher. But I'm a bit more compassionate. What I would say, if you wonder what the influence had on the country, if you've ever been at a pub quiz and seen someone on their smartphone cheating to get the answers, I don't think that would have ever happened if Margaret Thatcher hadn't been in power in the 70s, 80s, etc.
We've had some missives in regarding the webcams.
The webcams? I forgot. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there they are.
Emily, there was some discussion the other week following a viewer's comment that you couldn't be seen on the webcams. We all agree that this is quite unfair, but in a similar position on Jeff's show, Annabelle achieves visibility by simply moving to the right.
Well, there you go. Make an effort.
If the mountain will not come to Mohammed, then Mohammed must go to the mountain.
I've heard that.
Kind regards, David Larkham.
Okay.
Leatherhead, sorry.
Did he put the mountain bit in?
Yes.
Oh, I thought that was just you adding to it.
No.
Where
I
are
thought you were
they?
freestyling.
You didn't. There was another. Wasn't there an irate webcam?
Oh, yeah. There's a chap. Oh, is it the same chap?
Okay, this
Please,
is
can
getting
you
a bit
change
creepy.
the webcams from Vicky's studio to yours?
Is that his voice?
Yeah, that's me doing an impression of a guy from Leatherhead.
Yeah, sorry about that. But I mean,
That's three now.
to be
regarding the
fair, he
webcams.
might be lip reading. So it's
True.
not much of a show if
Hadn't thought of
the
that.
webcams aren't on. So that wouldn't be fair.
Yeah, never occurred to me.
That I'll tell you what
Somebody's-
I've just remembered in the 80s. I was at
The Thatcher years.
a mate of mine said I'd ruined his birthday stripper.
Why?
It was his birthday, and the bloke's got a stripper, and the
Do you
stripper
remember
came
those
on.
strippers?
Yeah.
No,
And I
don't.
And she was a young girl, a pretty young girl. She started getting all these blokes going, "Ugh," and I shouted at the top of my voice, "This is Thatcher's Britain." And he said it ruined the whole thing for
Oh
him.
my
But
God.
it really, it was.
Buzzkill.
Yeah, it really was. It
This
was,
is Thatcher's Britain. Billy Bragg walking in. Alexi Sale's been very quiet. I think he's turned.
No, he was on Channel 4 News.
Oh, was he? He
Yeah.
was the person you went to. He was your go-to man.
I'll tell you what I was interested in. He's the Honourable Sir Mark Thatcher.
Oh,
Oh, yes.
his return's one of the boons of this whole thing.
Did I miss
Yeah.
a meeting? He was made a sir.
No, I think he.
Who made him a
if
sir?
I'm
I think
not
he gets that
mistaken,
from her, doesn't
I
he?
think he gets the honourable from his mom and
Oh.
the sir from his dad because they're like barons and baronets.
But that's not all
He's
he's got out
brilliant.
of his
He's
parentage, is it? I mean, he's done well out of them in other ways, hasn't he?
At least
Not
he found his way
financially
home.
from murky arms deals.
Yeah, but is it? I mean, I've got a child, as you know, and you do
Yeah.
think, well, I wonder what he'll grow up to be, and what will he do? Will he like football? Will he, and all that kind of stuff? Will he be aggressive? Will he be a nice chap? You think about all those things. I'm sure you think the same, Alan.
Yeah.
about-
You'll have to wait and see.
about- yeah, but I don't. I'd be surprised if he ever stages a coup in Equatorial Guinea.
Yes.
I don't think he'll ever go that far. And hopefully he'll never be accused of calling a tennis player a gollywog. So her children have not turned out 100%, have they? They haven't turned out. To be fair to them, they were brought up in an unlit cupboard for the first 14 years. So, no, I was reading, Carol Thatcher said that she had to make an appointment when she was a teenager. She used to have to make a proper appointment through the secretaries
Wow.
to have a meeting with her mum.
Really?
I approve of that.
Oh, I'm not saying I don't approve. It's just secretaries in the plural. That's what threw me.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. I'm with Emily Dean and I'm with Ellen Cochrane.
Ellen?
Sorry, I was going to let you make that announcement.
Ellen DeGeneres. I think she's done it already, darling.
I love Ellen. That's one of my... I've always really thought she was very beautiful, Ellen DeGeneres.
I do as well.
Yes, it's the quintessential flogging of a dead horse. Text in on 81215 if you'd like to. And you're looking confused.
What's the flogging of the dead horse?
I don't think she's interested in.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Follow us on Twitter at Frank on the Radio. And just in case anyone thought that we've sort of spoken of the Thatcher years in a slightly unbalanced way.
We've had this text in from 485 saying, "Hello Frank, you should have been a student in the 60s when the Harold Wilson Labour government did away with grammar schools and brought in the wonderful comps. This was the worst thing that ever happened to Britain."
Well, you obviously didn't hear the Sony nominations. But no, fair enough, Kate. We've all got our own views, and I think that's important.
I think we've been balanced. You've said that you were invited to the funeral, but you can't go.
I haven't really been invited.
Oh, haven't
funeral.
you?
No.
I just assumed you weren't going because you'd read that Catherine Jenkins was going.
She is going.
She's on the list.
Is she?
Catherine Jenkins
that
is
does
going.
not surprise me. Blimey, I can't believe she's
Catherine Jenkins,
blown her cover a bit there.
Clarkson's going.
Yeah.
Well, there would have been no anyone. Other things. What wouldn't there have been without
There would have
Margaret
been no
Thatcher?
Top Gear.
There'd been no Top Gear
No.
without Thatcher.
I hope he
yes.
puts a suit on. I hope he doesn't wear a leather chiquito and some bootcut jeans.
I was asked to host the embalming corporate gig.
Oh my God.
Just 15 minutes at the top. It's a black overall do. But I wasn't.
Don't do that many corporates, do you?
Shirley Bassey, all the greats.
But like I say, I don't like this. I hope she had a terrible death and all that. You know,
I
at the
don't.
end of the day, I found it very hard to hate her anymore. I hated her when she was a Prime Minister. But she became like a lot of other, old, frightened old people in this country. And I can't kick her.
There's not that many of them
down.
that are spending their time at the Ritz. But yeah,
No, that's true. That's a very good point.
Take
How
your
did that happen? Living at the Ritz?
I mean, yeah. It's quite expensive, the Ritz, when I last looked.
It's
Yeah.
quite.
30 quid for a glass of champagne.
Is that all?
I know old
I
age
usually pay
pensioners.
£31 for my glasses of champagne.
I know pensioners who can't afford a Ritz.
Yeah.
Those cheese biscuits. Anyway, let's move on and
You
off.
know where I think we should go?
Can I just say though, on
Yes.
St Paul's, she's being buried at St Paul's.
Yeah.
On that's where the funeral is, and
Well,
I'm
she insisted on that, didn't she?
yeah, and I'm being interviewed at St Paul's on Sunday night as part of a service at St Paul's. I'm on stage at St Paul's. So what a week they've got!
Yeah.
I'm the
'Cause they've got
warm-up to
a,
Thatcher's funeral.
A Sony nomination. Oh.
You're not going to do anything juvenile, like leave a whoopee cushion under one of the proper cushions.
No,
You'll be
it's
mature about
it's going to be a lovely night.
We were going to sashay on.
We're going to take a saunter down to the corner.
we're going to have music first.
Oh, are we? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
You can see why we didn't get that. Hammered, it's like student radio.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Email corner. Now, what have our lovely readers got to say this week?
We've had an email. Hello, Mr. Radio, Miss Emily and Mr. C. I think Mr. C was a different Mr. C, wasn't it? Didn't he do Ebenezer Good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He liked to party.
He did, yeah. My wife and I are flying into London from Sydney, Australia on April the 13th, unfortunately after your show has finished.
Whoa, hold on.
Whoops.
Oh my God! It's one of the Sony judges.
Do you have any
What
advice?
a way to find out. That's like when people are dropped from the England squad and they find out from the press.
That's why your
Oh, I
manager's
see,
come
your
down
show has
today.
finished, full
Yeah.
stop.
Your
I
manager
see.
is in a sort of Max Clifford in a jacket role outside
Oh, no.
Absolute Radio.
This is how I find out. What a nightmare. So
Yeah.
they're flying in from Sydney today.
From Sydney today, yeah. They continue. Do you have any advice for colonials returning to the mother country for a few days? If you've been away from the UK for a while, my advice, it's quick, it's succinct, but you've probably missed out. There's a chain of pubs now called Walkabouts, and if you're visiting, I think you should give them a try. They'd be really good. As a reverse night's move, if Miss Emily would be available to show us around some of the more upmarket parts of London, or if Alan is available to show us where to find a bargain. What's that about? We would be very much obliged, James.
Much obliged. I'm most happy with.
I'd like to encourage the use of Miss Emily. It's quite gone with the wind.
It is, yeah. I feel I should be...
Fiddle-dee-dee, Miss Emily.
I feel I should be looking at you in my rear view mirror if I'm going to call you Miss Emily. You know what I mean? It's like driving Miss Emily.
Yes.
I've done the Australia flight a few times and back, and you've done it, Em. Have you been to Australia, Alan?
Well, when we talked about missing out on things, I missed my first 2 ever takeoffs on an aeroplane because my first flight was to Australia. I think we might have discussed this before.
You missed the first 2 takeoffs?
I fell asleep. I missed them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so my first ever flight was long haul to Australia. So
Did you find that when you got to the other end of that flight that you feel a bit spaced out?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Brilliant,
yeah.
isn't it? Because I don't drink or do drugs or smoke even.
You just fly. You just get high.
I just do long
You
haul
literally
flights.
get high.
Yeah.
But it is great. So I would suggest if you just flown in from Sydney, you get down to Carnaby Street and enjoy the whole psychedelic experience. I think this is
Carnaby Street, very 60s.
It's where the phrase tripping came from. No, it is. It's the craziest experience.
My advice would be...
Of course, Rio Ferdinand uses long-haul flights as part of his fitness regime.
Exactly.
This is an interesting idea.
my advice would be, Australians, obviously, they say thongs for flip-flops.
Yeah.
So don't go into someone's house and say, shall I just take off my thongs? 'Cause you might get an odd... Or they might like it.
That's
You never
all right.
know.
Yes, anyway, have a lovely time.
Enjoy.
Back here in the motherland, yeah.
Is that what it's called now?
That's what they've called it.
Oh, lovely.
We've-
Next.
Well, it's another Antipodean reader.
Oh, wow.
Hi there, all.
All this will dry up, of course, now we didn't get the nomination.
Yeah, they're
We'll be
really keen
lucky.
on the Sonys
we're
on the other
lucky
side
if
of the
we
world.
get people outside the M25.
I approve of that, but anyway. Sorry to split hairs, but you forced my hand. Sorry to split metaphors, I think you'll find. Far Lap, as discussed on last week's show.
Are we splitting horse hairs?
Yes.
Far Lap was the great Australian racehorse.
Well, au contraire, my non-award-winning friend. It's actually a New Zealand horse born in Timaru in the South Island. Just another
Timaru,
example.
Wasn't that on Shooting Stars? Timaru.
Just another example of those lovable Aussies claiming ours as their own. Split ends, crowded house, Pavlova, need I say more? Pretty good remembering by Frank on the bits of said pony scattered around the place, though. Heart and hide in Australia, but skeleton in Te Papa. Bit like me.
Yeah,
New
in
Zealand's-
case you missed this, I was talking about this famous racehorse. I saw his skin in a museum in Melbourne, but his skeleton, as you say, was somewhere else. His brains in Canberra.
Te Papa. But Megan, who is writing this in, says, we often get forgotten about down here in the Antipodes and mixed up with the other folk to us next door. Love your show. Bit too praisey, sorry. I podcast every week whilst in my studio painting.
Oh, how lovely.
Not much of a portrait artist, though, so that counts me out of the competition. That's your Sky Arts one.
How lovely, though, that the idea of someone painting in the studio in New Zealand listening to this show. What does the paint run upwards when the paint runs?
It's all
That's
upside
this
down
week's texting. We didn't get much response to nice cigar smokers. Nobody could think of one.
No. Well, there
Simple as
obviously
that.
aren't any.
No.
Which is difficult for the publishers of Cigar Smoker magazine. Which there is one. James Woods is on the cover every month.
Really?
Yeah, that's all they can find.
I
Arnie, there was one Arnie.
I went into one of those lean-to places you get outside pubs now where you can go and smoke. And Simon Sharma was in there smoking a big cigar. And I always thought he seemed all right, but turns out not.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
I know we're in email corner technically, Frank, but I'd just like to pop back into text. What should we call it?
Do what you like.
Text terrace.
It's fine.
Oh, nice.
We make our own rules on this show.
Yeah.
All bets are off now.
We were talking about Margaret Thatcher and milk. With
Yes.
the conversation, although this person, lovely as she seems, I don't know how with it she is, because she says, hi, Frank, Emily and Gareth. I'm afraid.
Ouch.
Okay.
Read the conversation
I
about
think you'll
Thatcher.
find that was the team during the Sony years.
Yes. You're right.
Well, Angela says she hated the milk to the point where she used to throw up immediately after drinking it.
You know, I remember the Angelas at our school. There was always 3 or 4 people who didn't want the milk.
Yeah.
The teachers had to really... I couldn't get... Sometimes I'd have one of their bottles. It was great. Free milk.
She says she got in trouble for throwing up as soon as I drank it, being accused of spilling it down myself, and this was my first memory of life being unfair. Very fitting, I think.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry about that, Angela, but...
Still
drink
not
your
fun,
milk.
is it?
Those was in the days when milk was seen as very good for you. Now it's probably seen as doing something terrible.
Was it you who was saying, Frank, you used to have a little lie down on the desk as well afterwards?
That's
Remember
right.
the
Used
school
to,
lie down? Drink
used
your
to-
milk, then lie
You used to
down.
put your fold your arms in front of you, put your head on that, and then we'd sleep for 20 minutes in the afternoon.
That'd be great, wouldn't it?
Was that
And we used
teacher authorised, can I just say?
Yeah, it
So the
wasn't.
teacher-
It wasn't industrial action.
Oh, OK. The teacher would come around and say, have a little lie down.
Yeah, and we'd do it, and we'd go to sleep as well, just like that.
Great.
We couldn't.
I think the workforce could do with that, like in general. Just if you went to places and they were all having there with
I
their
think
head
you
on
can
their
do
desk.
it. You could do that now.
You could.
Who'd stop you? No.
I'd love to have had sleep as a child. My parents had me out earning money.
Leave it there.
Yep. Should we go back to email call? We should
Go
say
on,
we have
why
had
not?
we've had a lot of cigar correspondence, but we can go back to that.
Oh, I'm happy to hear some of
Yeah,
that.
we've had various.
Al, you had a couple.
Have
didn't
they
you?
identified a nice person that smokes cigars?
Yeah, there's a chap here, Frank, in the local guitar shop. When I was a kid, the shop owner used to smoke cigars, so all the guitars smelt of cigars. 22 years on, I still play, and I love the smell as it reminds me of that shop, which was like a sweet shop to me.
Yeah, but was he a nice bloke? Was he a monster?
Well,
Well,
he perhaps wouldn't like the smell if he was a monster.
I think
Bunny
he- I
in
mean-
Belfast. Good morning, Frank. The golfer Darren Clark loves a cigar and is a top bloke too.
Really?
I'm worried about the use of top bloke.
Yeah, it
I'm
makes
worried
me
about
think.
top
Makes me
bloke
think
golfer
he's
and
not a top
cigar.
bloke.
Yeah.
Makes me think he's more top
Makes me
gear than
think-
top bloke.
Makes me think that these are cigar smokers sticking up for each other.
I think you might be right there. Shall we return to email corner
Let's
then?
do it. I was just trying to think. Farlap, the horse from New Zealand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The current controversy. There's got to be a beef Wellington joke in that somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
I can't find it.
Do you know, I love it when you workshop on air.
I just can't find it.
It's one of my favourite things that
Yeah,
ever
I think
happens.
I'm just you know,
I do,
they used to
the
say
honest-
show the work it out. They used to say in maths exams.
Yeah.
I'm doing that.
Yeah.
I
like
can't
it.
find the beef Wellington joke.
Hi, Frank and the team. I heard you lot asking whether the readers had ever cried at a book this week
Yes.
after Frank had said he had been bawling at a post-apocalyptic novel. Was that The Road?
It was The Road by Cormac McCarthy.
I've never read that, but I have bought it for someone as a gift. Is it a terrible gift, or is it an
blimey.
awful gift?
It's the bleakest, most
Yeah.
oh man!
Oh, dear.
I was terrible. I mean, it made me feel poorly.
Oh, well, I may
It's
have ruined
brilliant.
someone's Christmas a few years ago then.
It's brilliant.
Oops.
Have you ever seen them again?
Yeah.
Okay.
But she looked upset. But that's common. I can confirm that I have cried at a book. It was No Time for Goodbye by Linwood Barclay.
Well, the clue's in the title.
I read this
do
whilst...
you know Linwood? No, but thanks for the tip.
I read this whilst travelling around Thailand last summer and got teary-eyed when reading the final pages on a bus to Bangkok. Without going into too much detail,
Oh,
the passage...
teary-eyed in Bangkok. That's
Yeah.
actually the name of my memoirs.
Without going into too much detail, the passage that made me crumble steady was a letter to the main character from her mother written just before she had passed on. I wasn't exactly
Billy
sobbing,
Elliot, that is.
and I'm quite certain there were no audibles as my emotions took hold. Nevertheless, a good amount of the passengers on the bus noticed and turned around and started laughing at me as I finished the book in tears.
Yeah, they're a vicious race.
True, and as if to add insult
Don't think
to
they are.
injury,
They're famously sweet, aren't they? The Thais?
Thai lady who was sat next to me decided I was no longer a suitable bus companion and at this point moved to a different seat. Thanks for the last. Keep up the good work. James in Redcar.
Well, I mean, one's tempted now to avoid that book like the plague. But I had a massive laughing fit reading Charles Dickens's Pickwick Papers on a train.
I never
once.
believe it when people laugh out loud at books.
I know.
Never, it's insincere.
But you should try. Honestly, it's a very, very funny book.
I mean, I have read funny books. When I do it, I find it believable. But when other people do it...
The great thing about it there's a bit where he's buying a horse, and he says that the farmer who's selling him the horse has a grin which agitated his countenance from one auricular organ to the other. But anyway, I had a really old second-hand bookshop version of it that looked quite a lot like the Bible. So I think people might think I was reading the Bible and then really laughing at it.
Not a lot of
because it's so packed with gags. But yeah, it's that response in... Because it's all disappearing now, because people read Kindles and that on public transport, so people don't even know what they're reading.
Yeah.
So all that's gone.
I do. I always peer over.
I used to like looking at people and thinking, oh, God, they read that kind of book, just what you'd expect. So, Cigar Smokers Weekly. Where are we? No, literally, where are we?
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
You know, we were talking about cigar smokers, Frank.
Yeah.
Trying to find a reasonable human being
Well,
who smokes cigars.
Is there a nice person on the planet who smokes cigars, or are they all terrible people?
Well,
That's the question.
this guy in Runcorn had a bad experience with cigars, 340. Hi, folks. I used to love a cigar. That was until my mum and dad brought me some real Cuban ones home and I tried them. Halfway down my first one, I took a bad turn and passed out.
Oh,
nearly
dear.
breaking my neck when hitting the wooden floor. Oh, I like the sound of the wooden floors. Call me. Needless to say...
I like the sound, but obviously I don't believe in fainting. Carry on.
Needless to say, the wife, oh, don't call me, has now banned me from partaking in cigar smoking.
It was a narrow escape. You could have become a very unpleasant person. But obviously he's got an essential goodness that wouldn't allow that to happen.
Liz in Bournemouth think you may have forgotten Churchill. He loved a cigar.
That's a very good point. OK, he authorised the bombing of Dresden. But, you know, if you're going to make an omelette...
True.
Yeah, OK, I'm going to give you Churchill.
This works
That's
its
one.
way
That's
to
one
cigar
in the
smokers.
left-hand column. We've got 878 in the right-hand column. We haven't even mentioned... We'll leave it there.
You're right, we haven't.
We'll leave it there.
There's good reason for that. There's good reason for that.
Yeah, there is.
This one eventually works its way to cigar smokers. Frank, 90% of my friends think that I look like you. In fact, when I meet new people, they often say that they recognise me and feel that I remind them of someone, so I reel off a list of infamous, beautiful intellectual icons before finally mentioning you, Frank Skinner, to which they respond, yes, that's it. I feel a strange sense of pride over this. I think we have the same shaped oblong head. Hannibal from the A-Team, not Hannibal Lecter. Hannibal from the A-Team is a nice cigar smoker.
That was a bit
That
of
was love from G. Norton, I believe, in West London.
That was a bit stream of consciousness.
It was, but I like it. Yeah, but he's a fictional character,
That's true, yeah.
so that you can make him a nice person.
It's like saying Alice in Wonderland is a nice female child. It doesn't mean anything, does it? It's just made up.
It's not really like that. Is
And
it?
she's not that nice, is she? She's unpleasant.
Nice female child. That's what I'm talking about.
But it's fiction, isn't it? The point I'm making is it's fiction. You can
Saying anything.
Mr. Magoo, somebody else. That's another fictional
Fiction.
character.
Yeah, I'm not
Not
saying
in
one
fiction.
couldn't invent a nice person. I want to know whether unpleasant people are drawn towards cigars or cigars poison the mind.
What about Clinton? He liked a cigar.
Did he? I think you've got your stories mixed up. Anyway,
We'll just Google that, yeah? We were speaking earlier about what we've missed out on, because...
of course I know that. You think I
that's-
wasn't
yeah.
listening?
No, I'm just... it's what they call in radio a recap, isn't it?
Oh,
It's
okay.
not. It's what they call in life a recap, I suppose. Anyway, I've got an eye on next year's Sony's. I thought I'd try and be slick. I've got one. My wife and son this week went to watch The Lion King live, the show, the theatrical musical. And my wife said to me when she got back, well, you've seen it anyway, haven't you? Because we went to see it together. And I said, no, I've never seen it. And she said, you have, we went together. And I have absolutely no recollection of having gone to this.
Oh.
And my brother's girlfriend used to work on the London show, doing the costuming and stuff. And she said, we got tickets from her. at the discount rate. Normally I would remember a bargain.
You'd remember the discount.
I was going to say, you'd always remember the
do you know
credit
what-
card slip.
Do you know what else I would remember? I'd usually remember, like, having a certain drink on the way there. Like, most of my event
you?
memories, I would sort of go, oh, yeah, we had a pint round the corner, didn't we? Or we had
What
a
he does, he
burger
goes to
afterwards.
M&S and he gets the little bottles of wine. It's much dearer in the theatre. That's what he says to us.
That's a
I've
great
never
tip
seen
for any
that.
listeners.
I've never seen The Lion King, but I understand it's a spectacular event, sort of thing that might stick in the mind.
You'd think, wouldn't you? And I've no recollection of it whatsoever.
See, I have these gut-wrenching moments in my house when I reminisce about something that we did together, and Kat says, that wasn't me.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm wondering now.
I've done that. I had an ex-boyfriend, Bulletproof Monk Gates. Don't get me started. That was like when we saw Bulletproof Monk. I said, I've never seen Bulletproof Monk. Do I look like I've seen Bulletproof Monk?
I'm going to fess up, I don't know what Bulletproof Monk is.
It's a film.
I don't either.
I was
Apparently it's a
hoping
film.
it was a person.
Apparently it's a film, Frank. But it doesn't sound very me, does it? Let's be honest.
No, but sometimes when one is in the early stage of a relationship, you'll go to things.
Oh, I know that phase. I like pizza too. I like
Yeah.
karate films. I
Yeah.
love horror.
Yeah? I love Angelina Ballerina. Yes.
No, but there was an argument about that. He slept in the spare room.
Oh, did he?
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, it was a simple mistake.
Yeah.
See, what I do, things that I'm 99% Kath went to, I'll say, oh, yeah, I saw the Strokes at Brixton Academy, and she'd say, I was with you, and I'll say, oh, no, I know that.
Oh, you style it out.
Yeah, rather than say, remember when we saw the Strokes, and she'd say it wasn't me, I'm not prepared to take that
Just
risk
in case
again.
there's that scintilla of doubt there.
Yeah,
See, with
exactly.
this, I know that we were together when she's gone, so I'm now thinking that we booked some tickets and then I got a gig or didn't go for some reason, and that she went with a friend. It's almost got to the point where one of us might send a group email to friends saying, can any of you remember going to see the Lion
Do it
King?"
now. Let's have a big
Or if they're listening,
shout
could use
out.
this. Yeah.
Can I say
Did
something?
anyone go to the Lion King with Mrs. Cockrell? And when would it be?
Oh, I've no idea.
Oh, you don't even know when it was.
Well, I never went. It wasn't me.
I've got to admit, I can't see that show because I'm phobic about people dressed as animals.
Are you?
It makes me feel a bit
I am.
ill. You know what it is? You see
What
some
about
yellow
Panto
felt
horses?
costume and then you see the actor's black shoe poking through underneath. And it makes me feel ill.
I went to see the opening night of... I can't remember what it's called now. What's that musical?
I don't
My
know,
manager
Alan
will
probably
know.
saw it.
What's that musical that's set on a cruise ship?
Is it South Pacific?
No, it's a lot of tap dancing and stuff.
Anything goes.
Is it-
Anything goes. I went
is
to
it
see
Anything
Anything
Goes?
Goes. And it was the first
That
night...
was like a night in an old people's home. I like that.
It was the first night at the National Theatre, and what happened was that one of the male dancers got his foot caught in the revolving stage.
Oh, no.
And now,
Oh, no.
can you imagine the nature of that scream? It was
It's like
the
Graham Norton's 50th and the
was-
cake came out.
it was the campest terror I've ever heard. And they had to stop the show. Apparently, his shoe was torn in two, but happily he wasn't hurt.
good.
But I certainly wouldn't have forgot that. See, that's
No.
what you needed. You needed some sort of in-show incident.
I don't. Usually with me it's a sandwich.
I've never fancied the
Lion King.
no.
People on equity minimum roaring come round my parents' house.
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
We've had some cigar-based texts that will just break away from things we don't remember.
We have. We've had.
I'm trying to find some nice people who smoke cigars. So far, we've got Churchill, not nice exactly, but sort of admirable. And on the other side of bad people, millions.
Yeah. There's been a few.
There's a few nice ones,
There's
though.
been a few missives come in. My daddy smokes a cigar every Christmas day, and he's a lovely wee man from Lear in Belfast. So, I mean, we can't prove that, but we'll take a word for it.
I'm not taking a word for it.
Really? You're not having that?
My daddy sounds like it could be a boyfriend, but he's much older than her.
No, I think it's just an Irish thing. That's the phraseology, isn't it?
Okay. Okay, so
650.
I'm not going to dispute that your daddy's a nice man, but we don't know him, so we have no data So I'm
Your daddy. Well, what if it's Puff
that?
Daddy? That could be her daddy. He's a cigar smoker.
Because he's
Yeah.
that why he's called
Yes,
Puff Daddy.
yeah.
Because
Could
he,
be.
Yeah.
650. Frank, Emily, and Alan. You asking cigar smokers, even though never met him. Okay, that's not great. The syntax. However, he does go on to say, "I would put a shout out for George Burns."
George
from
Burns.
It's a good call, isn't it?
Shout out for George Burns. Don't hear that often.
George Burns, does he? He should cranberry juice. That's my advice. Oh, George Burns does seem a nice bloke.
Yeah.
Dead not now, but he's funny and stuff. I mean, he's probably very difficult backstage, but he's funny. I'm going to put him in. It's George Burns and Churchill at the moment.
Well, there's
When I
another,
say Churchill, I mean we will fight them. Not yes. I don't think he smokes.
They used to try that. It didn't work out, did it?
You couldn't get the insurance.
Exactly. Telly Savalas, somebody has put. I think it's meant to be Telly
stunned
Savalas.
to discover that Telly Savalas was a nice bloke.
Well, also, I like the
is that
idea of-
fictional character? It is a bit. Kojak maybe smokes cigars.
I've never met a man with a shaven head who was a nice bloke either.
Oh, that's not true. That's surely not true.
No, that's true.
Have a think, though. Surely that's not
There
true.
No.
must be some.
Nobody.
Oh,
Carry on.
Loads of them.
Oh, God. 844. Hi, Frank. You can't forget the dirty raincoat and cigar of Colombo.
Fictional character.
Fictional character, sorry.
And I love Colombo, but, did Peter Falk smoke a cigar?
OK, 425. JFK smoked Cubans and prevented a nuclear war.
When he said he smoked Cubans, that's a joke, isn't it? That's a joke. That's
There you
not a
go.
bad joke.
It's quite a good joke, I
must
think.
say. Yeah, it's still only 2 in the good column.
Yeah, it's not a great yield, is it?
Shaven head's nobody in the good column. So,
Well, I'm sure we can
OK,
do
I've
that.
got one. What about the Dalai Lama?
Yeah, good
Yeah.
point.
He's not a bad bloke. He's not Top Gear, is he?
Well, he's a bit homophobic. He is.
Is he?
He is.
Is he really?
I read an interview with the Dalai Lama.
Is this
And-
breaking news on Absolute Radio?
No, and he was...
Pope's not great on that score, to be fair. FYI.
Well, the Pope gets a
Glass
lot of
houses.
stick for it.
Yeah.
Whereas the Dalai Lama, everybody thinks, oh, lovely, smiling, friendly. But he's. He told a story about 2 homosexuals that went to see him, and he told them to basically stop it.
Did he?
Just stop it. Yeah. It's the Dalai Lama.
He does get
for you.
photographed at one too many red carpet shindigs for my liking.
Does he?
There was a period in the
It was
90s...
nice with the orange, though.
You'd always see, Frank, the Planet Hollywood leopard skin carpet underneath the sandals, and I didn't think that was a good look for a man who'd taken orders like him.
I love the idea that he's got one of those Planet Hollywood leather jackets he used to get with the different coloured sleeves, which he just wears around the temple.
Frank, you've just hit upon something. All those Planet Hollywood owners were cigar smokers. I remember Sly Stallone.
There
They
you
loved
go.
a cigar.
Do you imagine? Are they someone you'd want to row the Atlantic with?
I wouldn't want to row the Atlantic with anyone.
Wouldn't you? But if you had to, who would it be? That'd be a good texting. If you had to row
Oh,
the
yeah.
Atlantic with a celebrity, who would it be?
I'd go Ben Fogle or Redgrave straight off the...
Would you?
Yeah, well, they're going to do most of the work, aren't they? I can just sort
Yeah,
of have a
that's
look
true.
out.
You want
I think they should
someone-
have a look out the window then, but
You
it's
want
not got a
someone
window.
fair-
I'd go
Sturdy.
Russell Grant. I'd live off him if things got difficult. Not being
Like Life
horrible,
of
but I
Pi.
would. Yeah.
I'd go Leslie Grantham.
Any reason for that?
I just think he's fairly open. And you'd want that. You don't want formality on a long
You don't
row.
have judgment, do you? You were discussing the beef Wellington joke.
Yes.
If anybody's just tuned in now, it's going to be confusing, but...
Well, then, get up.
you were workshopping the attempt at a joke. Possible beef Wellington joke. I says, be careful ordering the beef Wellington. These days you're likely to get a couple of horseshoes on your plate.
Well, like I say,
That's the chap's attempt.
We're workshopping it.
Colin in Sunderland, good
Okay.
try.
I'm loving Colin's joining in on that. I wonder if it's Colin Soggett, the former Sunderland midfielder. That'd be exciting.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. I'm with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane this morning. And you can text us on 81215 about anything you like. And you can follow us on Twitter at Frank on the Radio. Oh, yes.
When you can say they can text us about anything they like, they do seem to be texting us with suggestions of cigar smokers who aren't horrible people, and now it's moved on to people with shaved heads who aren't horrible people.
Yes,
Yeah,
you
well,
also said they were all horrible as well.
I mean, I'm less convinced of that than I am of cigar
Well, I've got a
smokers.
feeling how this might go. Shaven-haired hero. What about Steve Bull, Frank? A great bloke, I'm sure you'd agree.
Yes, former Wolves
Steve Bull.
player.
Yeah, I had a feeling that.
Yeah, but he covers his with a tatter's hat, if I remember rightly, according to the song.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And actually, much to my chagrin, this says, what about Steve Bull, comma, Frank, no question mark. I'm worried about the question mark. People aren't using it enough.
No.
Do you not notice
I
people are
suppose.
not using the question mark these days?
I don't care. I hate the question mark. It looks like a
Really?
man with a shaven head
I like the question mark.
and a bolero tie.
I'm going to start one of those campaigns like people do about the possessive apostrophe.
Why
Like,
don't you do that?
let's keep the question mark, it'll be called.
It's got a bit Countdown Dictionary Corner here.
I always thought
228.
the question mark was a bad move on the Doctor Who costume, I always thought.
Oh, yeah.
228. Morning, Frank, M and the Cockerel. What about Groucho Marx as a cigar smoker?
That's three. That's three in the good column.
Very
Well,
good.
that's
Two
from,
comedians
that's from Steve.
and a wartime leader.
There you go. My back catalogue.
What about-
from Steve from the Forest of Dean, and he says, "I've lived in the forest for about 4 years now, but
Forrest of Dean, yeah.
I still haven't explored it all. So by means of a text-based night's move, if Emily ever wants to help me explore the Forest of Dean in more depth, that would be lovely."
Well, now I think
You
yes.
rascal.
yes, that is. We walk straight into that.
We did.
Duncan Goodhue seems like a nice bald fella. From
Oh, I thought
James
I was going to say
Slough.
he'd sent in. Yeah, I'm not counting now.
That's
I said
alopecia,
shaved heads. Did I
And
not?
He fell out of a tree, didn't he?
Fell out of a tree and all his. That's not shaving, is it?
It's not.
No
it's not
one's
the
ever
same.
thought feeling a bit rough today. Where's that elm? So he's not. He didn't shave his head. It was. It's
I
an
would
accident.
like it if you'd got an accurate tree. Was it an elm that he fell from?
I don't know
That would
what
be
he fell
great
from.
if you knew that.
No, I don't know what he fell from. I must admit.
Where do you stand, Frank, on Tom Selleck, 922? Big cigar smoker, top bloke.
Is he a top bloke? I think he's a member of the National Rifle Association. Isn't
Yeah, and
he?
a staunch Republican.
Okay.
Looks hot, though.
So-
So.
Yeah.
Every cloud.
He's good. You know, he's funny in the things he's in, isn't he?
Is he?
Mostly. I'm pretty sure Brunel smoked a cigar. Have we had Brunel?
The Sultan of
Yes.
Brunel.
I don't know if it's the Sultan or if it's the
okay.
engineer.
I bet he
architect.
does smoke a cigar,
He
though.
probably did, yeah. But I
Yeah.
don't know if
Different
know if
times.
the unpleasantness of the cigar smoker had fully risen to the fore
Well, in
at
fairness,
that time.
Kenneth Branagh as Brunel smoked something of a cigarillo, I would say.
Did he?
Yes.
Not a cafe creme from the tin with the lid. I mean, what
At the
kind of
Olympic
people
opening
smoke them?
ceremony, he went a bit cafe creme.
He did. It was very Isambard Kingdom Brunel heavy. The Olympic ceremony.
Yes, it was.
Because it's become a big thing now, BAFTA nominated and all that. I still wasn't partial.
What about Che Guevara? Attractive, revolutionary and good guy.
Well, I thought he was a bit bolshy with those nuns at the leper colony. I'll be
Really?
honest
Yeah.
with you. Yeah. It's all right bursting in there as a temporary measure when people have been working with them for years. Coming through on your motorbike and telling them what to do. Shut your face, Shay.
So never change
think
that
we
old
can-
beret. Bit
If
of a
I-
greasy
Take
rim.
that as a no, I think.
If I'd have been Che Guevara, I'd have just opened a restaurant. And you could have called it Che Guevara. As in Che,
Che, yeah.
you know, Che thingy.
And finally, Phil from Sittingbourne, a good cigar smoking man has got to be Tommy Cooper. Another comic, Frank.
Yeah,
Yeah.
another comic who had a long-term affair with his so-called wardrobe woman and drank a bottle of whiskey a day. Your witness.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Now then.
Well, we need to talk about the bearded lady, Frank.
Yes.
You don't often see a bearded lady these days.
No, that's true.
Unless you've got the box set of Carnival. The,
Yes, where there was quite a raunchy bearded lady in there.
Yeah, great.
Yes, this is a German
She's
woman.
German.
And she's got a goatee.
Yep.
She has.
A black goatee and long goatee. She looks a bit like Jay, the food expert from The One Show.
Yes. Yeah, is
That's
it Jay Rayner?
Is
Is that his name?
I don't know.
I think it is, yeah. Just if anybody's trying to...
Is he Claire Rayner's son?
I've no idea. I doubt it.
Yes, it is.
Is it really?
Oh, marvellous.
Join a youth group, lovey.
What?
Yeah, that was Claire Rayner's advice to everyone. I'm going through a very messy divorce. What shall I do? Join a youth group, lovey.
I saw her once in Joe Allen's restaurant in Covent Garden.
Lovely.
And she had 2 sticks. It was towards the end. And she wasn't drumming, she was walking. They looked like they were they weren't wooden, they looked like they were Capi de Monte. They were like sort of china, 2 china sticks.
Oh.
And they must have been enamelled, I suppose, for wet weather work.
How did she get purchase?
Well, I don't know, but she
Maybe one of those rubber stoppers at the bottom.
Yeah, I don't know if it went all the way down. There might have been some sort of end, but I've never seen walking sticks like them.
No. Don't make them like that anymore.
I wonder what happened to them. They must be, since she's passed
What, the
away.
Rayners?
No, I wonder what happened to those 2 sticks.
Oh.
I wonder if Jay uses them as with Chinese food. Feeds the other people at the table,
like
a few feet away.
Oh,
What a lovely
parable.
thought. Yeah, it's probably has had the rubbers cleaned, from walking about. It's a nice thought.
Anyway, the bearded German lady.
Ah, yes.
So she went on this morning. Did you see her on this morning? She was talking in great detail about it. She said she's never felt sexier.
I hate it when people say that. I'm getting
facial
like
hair.
I hate anything to the word sexy. Makes me feel sick. Sixy, that's what I call it.
Oh.
I went and saw Oblivion this week, the new Tom Cruise.
Oh, what was that like?
Well, it looks absolutely astonishing.
Yeah.
But,
You had me at Tom.
yeah, but the script is indifferent. But there's love scenes.
I love Frank's reviews.
Why do they have to have love scenes in films like that? And they're really cheesy, oh baby type.
Didn't you go off love scenes in books as
I
well?
hate love scenes.
He doesn't like
Love
love
scenes,
scenes.
Here's the thing: if you like, I'm not stopping. If you like love scenes, go and see a romantic movie and enjoy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But you know what? When you're watching that romantic movie, don't blame me if 2 aliens come in and blow the couple to pieces.
Or suddenly there's a car chase.
Oh, spoiler alert.
Leaving a pink mist where their head was. That doesn't happen in romantic films, but in sci-fi films, suddenly there's a stupid love scene. I'm getting like I hate Tom Cruise. He's rubbish now. Used to be,
Well,
actually
don't
used to
worry,
be
he's
rubbish.
not remotely litigious, so we won't get into any problems. with
Yeah, I'm not
comment.
saying anything about his sexuality. I'm saying she's making not very good. This could have been a brilliant film.
Oh, dear.
And they got like a model in it, like a
really?
model that was in Quantum of Solace. That was a great
Oh,
film.
her, yeah.
I haven't seen that yet.
I saw her on the
Anyway.
Graham Norton show. Bit cold.
Yes.
Anyway,
Anyway, we weren't even talking about that.
I want to get
The
back
bearded lady.
to the bearded lady.
What
And I'm
worries
probably
me?
the only person who said that. Let's be honest.
What worries me about you when you're looking at your phone, missed calls. Anyway, I've got to get back to the bearded lady.
She got
called.
some horrible
You see, I
abuse.
wouldn't want to
Yeah,
get a
she'd
phone
get-
call from the bearded lady.
Why?
Because she'd be talking here.
Oh, I sometimes get that when I've got
Talking.
a beard,
Yeah.
What happens if Brian Blessed calls you?
Hello.
You get it, you get it.
Hello, this is the bearded lady. I'm just saying to feel very sexy. Who wants to hear that?
I like that she speaks German, just in English in an accent.
Speaking of German, when Angela Merkel comes over for the funeral on Wednesday,
Oh, yeah.
you can imagine after about 10 minutes of conversation at the party, she's going to say, just a minute, let me tell you about divisive leaders. What worries me about this bearded lady woman is I read the article about her. I didn't see her. Did you actually see her interview?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I scrolled down to video, as I
And I
believe
thought,
it's
well,
called.
brilliant, how brilliant this woman. She had a baby 28 years ago, and she started growing facial hair as just a hormonal
Yes.
reaction. And she thought, no, I'm not going to be ashamed. I'm going to go with it. And I thought that I respect for that. And then I read that she's got a circus act.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's a bit Route 1, isn't it, for a bearded lady? You know, she's thought, well, I'm a bearded lady now. What kind of work can I do? I know. She's let the side down.
It's
Yeah.
public facing, but not in a way that is detracting. Like, you wouldn't have her on hotel reception or something, would you? People are
I think
slightly
she's-
wrong.
I think she could
She's what
host
you'd
she
say-
could host a sports show.
easily. Yeah.
She does.
Yeah.
She's not very client-facing, as I
Yeah.
believe the
No.
phrase.
Well, I don't know her that well. But I didn't think she was unattractive. I don't know that it would particularly put me off.
No, all my questions are about the grooming of it, because when I grow a beard, I wonder if other people have the same problems. Mine gets a bit achy.
Achy?
Yeah, I wonder if it gets a bit
breaky beard.
Oh, well,
I just want to interrogate her.
She didn't mention that. I don't know what's German for achy. Achy? Yeah, I think I've cracked it.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
We've been talking about the bearded lady.
Yeah,
German one.
This is the German.
This is the German one. But she's not the only one. Because it turns out there's this character called the Bearded Lady of Guildford, who's something of a local celebrity.
Oh, yeah.
We've had various
978.
texts
Yeah.
in from the Guildford community who are proud of their bearded lady.
She's got a website.
Blimey.
She's got a sort of King Lear affair. I'm looking at her now. if anyone wants to look her
You've
up.
got her up.
Oh,
have you?
yeah. I've got her deets.
Let's have a look.
Oh, hang on. I've got to call it in, put my password, get rid of the incriminating photographs. Hang on 1 second, please.
No, I'm not
take
going to
some
flick
time.
through. Don't.
Have a look.
Delete
Don't
history.
flick
No,
through.
that wasn't what I was expecting, I must say. I was thinking tiny goatee, and she's sort of Buster
No.
Merrifield.
Is
She is
this,
rather.
is this good radio? One has to wonder.
Well,
It's
I
a
think
man
look her
being
up.
shown a picture.
Yeah, but we don't have to worry about good radio anymore. We're outcasts. Do what we like.
You're crazy.
Of course, Zola Budd used to live in Guildford. You don't think it's her, do you?
I'm not sure.
I know, but you were
Once you
obsessed
put
by
the
her for a
shoes
while.
on, something had to give.
Yeah, imagine her running with the wind blowing through her beard. What a fabulous thought. She looks like a
What I
nice
like
lady.
about I'm going to call her the ITV bearded lady. She's a bit more commercial, isn't
Let's call her
she?
the German and the Guildford.
Okay. Oh. The German has what I believe is called a Van Dyke, that beard.
Yes, that's
Is it?
right.
Yes, because it's the moustache isn't attached directly to the goatee.
No, well, I mean, she's probably working with small assets. You know
Right,
what I mean?
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, it's never going to be really thick, is it?
No.
It's like your gap between hair and sideburn. She's got that on the top lip to...
Who's that celebrity hairdresser who's got the thickest beard you've ever seen in your life? I can't remember his name. But it looks like it's
Nicky
been
Clark?
painted
No.
on.
Is that the texting?
Yeah,
That's a celebrity hairdresser.
Elvis's hairdresser. Anyway,
Anyway.
so, well, and good luck to them all, is what I say. I don't think it would put me off.
Would it not?
Really?
No.
Well, exactly. Someone's got to marry David Bellamy.
Yeah. I've thought about not growing a full beard, but I'm thinking Nike symbol on the right cheek.
That would work.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Well, it's a bit of advertising that so far they've not tapped into, so I'm sure they'd be interested.
Well, I'm not
Or
saying
would you just do it?
I'm just saying beards are so people. They say we'll have a goatee or we'll have a. Why not? You can do all sorts of weird and unusual. You know, some people who really carve fabulous patterns in.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'd
facial
go for it.
topiary.
I'd
do
go
that.
for all that kind of stuff.
Frank, we've had a text in about a walking stick.
Oh,
278. I recently sprained my ankle. Yes.
sorry to hear that.
True story. And purchased a blue and white Liberty-esque print folding walking stick as opposed to the usual black ones.
Folding as well.
Folding.
You've got to trust that hinge, haven't you?
You had a choice of many patterns and I felt very stylish whilst infirm. Claire Rayner could have purchased similar.
Yes.
I like a text that ends on similar.
It looked to me like Claire Rayner's walking sticks might have been bespoke.
Yeah.
I wonder if they were specially made for her by an admirer.
Oh, maybe.
But I'm thinking I might like to buy them. We'll see.
Hello, Frank, Emily and Alan. What about Gail Porter? Doesn't count.
She hasn't got a beard.
No, we're
Does she
talking
smoke
about
cigars? No, she didn't shave her head. That was
That was alopecia, I believe.
yes.
yeah.
So can't count that either. Well, I think we're steadily tying up all our loose ends.
Do I count as a bearded lady if I have the occasional bristle which needs to be plucked? That's stubbly.
You know we're on air now, don't you?
That's stubbly from Sussex.
Oh no, you don't count as a bearded lady if you just got the occasional one. Stubbly.
Thank God for that. I need to talk to you boys. I had a bit of a difficult social incident this week. It was involving a male friend. Don't rush to it's platonic. It's a sacred rather than profane union.
Okay.
I've known him for a long time. He is actually a director, and he has directed a number of Doctor Who episodes, Frank.
Has he really?
Wow.
Yeah. So he's a nice friend to have.
Yeah.
He's an old university pal. He's happily married. He's got 2 children. And we meet up occasionally to
I think we've got what they used to call in the football programmes a pen picture. I think.
Yeah.
We meet up from time to time to chew the fat.
Yeah.
I don't chew the fat.
No, obviously.
I chew the napkin. He chews the fat.
Yeah.
But on this occasion, it was rather embarrassing because the waiter in the restaurant he decided we were going to get together at the end of the evening, and he was determined to make that happen. He walked over initially, and the first thing he said to us was, "You want a bottle of wine to share?"
Yeah.
He said, "No, I'm fine. I've got a beer, thanks." He went, "Not to share?" And I said, "No, we're fine." He said,
You said, I'm fine, I got a beard, thanks.
He said, "Maybe later."
Did he?
Yes.
See,
What's going to happen later? It was 9 o'clock by that point.
No, I had this once. I was in an Australian hotel room with Caroline Quentin and Maria McAloon. You know Maria McAloon?
Yes.
And
Extraordinary triumvirate.
Well,
we
with them
ordered chips and mayonnaise.
Yeah.
Three helpings. And they were in their robes, their white toweling robes. I was naked. No, I wasn't. I was in normal gear. And the waiter came up, the room service, and he put everything. And then as he left, he said to me, "Have a good evening, sir," and raised his eyebrows and left, like he was absolutely certain it was going to be some sort of menage a trois.
Well, this man was similar. He decided, when my friend went to
People
the
are
loo,
presumptuous, aren't
he came
they?
over, Frank, and he said, "Maybe you share meatballs?"
Well, I have no.
He honestly said that.
Yeah, he was keen on you sharing.
I
Are
said-
you sure they weren't just short of food?
I said... No, because he kept coming over like sort of got Kwan on a dating show. He kept saying, "How's everything going?" And when he suggested we get the grappa out, I thought, no, this is dodgy.
Grappa.
Two grappa? I said, "But I don't even like liqueurs. I don't even like grappa."
Was he giving the chap some instructions to grab her? Like, do you think you misheard?
I'll tell you what I've never done, even on a date, it strikes me. I've never had a 2 straws drink.
Oh, have you not?
You know when you see that in films and people
Yes.
will have a blah blah and 2 straws? I've never... there was that time that I was hiding under the surface of a lake with Dame Diana Rigg.
Oh, yeah.
But apart from that, I don't think I've ever done the 2 straws thing.
Do you do the shared dessert, though? Because that's a little bit romantic for
Yeah,
a
with the
platonic
long
friend.
spoons.
Oh, I don't like that.
Don't like
that
it?
waiter was trying to proffer those long spoons in our direction. Can you imagine?
Yeah, I think in the current climate, with so many things on the verge of pandemic, the shared
You've
dessert
gotta be careful.
is gone. as
Oh,
far
I
as
thought
I'm
you were going to
concerned.
say that they're a good idea because people are economically in dire straits. The shared desserts, it's a good plan.
No dessert, I think, if that's the situation.
Good point. Good point. Straight back home
Yeah.
for the grappa.
I did feel, though, I've known my friend for some 20 years plus, and I did feel towards the end of the evening.
Since you're at school.
I thought, yeah, I thought
20.
maybe I've missed the trick. You see, that's the thing. The
Oh, that's what you're
waiter
thinking.
started affecting my thought process. My treasured platonic friend. Of course, by the time I walked out the restaurant, I thought, what am I thinking?
Do you think the waiter's some sort of old-fashioned matchmaker?
Yes, I
like
think
the
you could
bloke
be
on...
right.
you remember Fiddler on the Roof?
Well, you know, the good thing was, it extended to him giving my friend the bill. Man, pay. He
Oh,
get
yeah.
nice
he never
evening.
said man.
No, he
pig."
didn't. That's his thought process.
Yeah. Well, that's all right. And did he was all right with that?
He was fine with it.
Nice.
Both
I
went
like
home
a happy
individually.
ending.
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
We need to have a chat about what to do with fan mail. Not mine, just in general.
Do you get much?
Well, actually, I did a gig in Hull a few weeks ago.
Of course you did.
And of course I did, yeah. It's in the north, and I'm gritty.
If someone said to me, they stopped me in the street and they said, "Where is Alan Cocker at this precise moment?" and I had to guess, I'd say, "Oh, doing a gig in Hull?"
Yeah, it's
Okay.
there or Skipton Cattle Mart, isn't it?
Yeah, well, there you go.
But the guy came through like 2 minutes before I was going to go on, and he said, "Oh, I've had a gift from a member of the audience for you."
Smash it.
And he said, "I think it's related to a show you do," like with the question mark, you know.
Yeah.
Obviously wasn't a listener.
No.
And
Well, he used the question mark.
exactly. And and he'd given me this lady had sent us an Easter card and given him a box of Ainsley Harriet's Scottish-style chicken and leek flavour cup soups, like that.
Oh, a sort of cock-a-leekie reference.
Well, exactly, a sort of cock-a-leekie.
Ainsley Harriet, shaven head, say no more.
I don't like to seem ungrateful, but I think, it could have been the actual cock-a-leekie, couldn't it, rather than chicken and leek soup.
Yeah, but that is what cock-a-leekie is. He's just broken down its basic components.
Yeah.
Also, a sealed sachet is what you want when it comes to fan food.
Well, he did say...
Otherwise, they inject it with mercury,
He did say, I've met her and she's just given me this. But then you go out and you do your show and you don't quite know who to thank, so... It's difficult.
You didn't thank anyone? Was that your fault?
I didn't thank anyone. No. What I like to do is I like to give the audience thanks by carrying on the good work. That's a
lovely way of looking at it.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I respect you for that.
But...
I like to do a lousy gig and then just say thank you at the end.
But she's also sent a card, so thank you for that. It was a couple of weeks ago, like I say. It's Helen. So, thanks, Helen.
What about that thing
have a cup of soup after.
Who's that pretty girl who went out with
I don't know, but I hate her already. Caroline Flack.
No, the pretty young singer. Taylor Swift. They found a whole bunch of her fan mail in a bin.
Yeah.
That doesn't look good, does it?
Unopened, wasn't it? Which is
harsh.
Oh, that's so harsh.
I find the homeless are such snitches, aren't they? They could have just ignored that and carried on looking for half pies, but no.
That was a big lady of Guildford.
They had to expose that young girl who probably didn't even know about it. Probably one of her people put it in the bin.
Yeah. But it's quite nice, isn't it, that people are...
I shall never give again. Not after that.
You shall never.
I'll never give in to the homeless again after that break of confidence.
I thought you meant to Taylor Swift.
No, I've never given to Taylor Swift. Can I make that clear?
Yeah. Have you sent fan mail, though, yourself?
Have I sent it? Oh, yeah, I used to write to footballers when I was a kid.
Really?
Oh, did you? Did you ever get a reply?
You used to get, I just used to ask for their autograph. I didn't want a letter or anything like that.
Did you get dictated but not read on the autograph?
Sometimes I'd get, like Dennis Law sent me a shredded wheat advert.
Did he?
That had got his autograph sort of printed on the advert.
Oh, that's
Rubbish.
no good.
Whereas Bobby Moore, always a gentleman, sent me a nice, best wishes, Bobby Moore.
Oh, that's
and
nice,
a kiss.
I wrote to Tim Roth when I was about 11 or 12 years old.
Oh, yeah.
I'd seen him in a Mike Leigh film. I had strange crushes at my age. And I said to my parents, I really like him. And my mum said, write to his agent, darling. Write to his agent.
Yeah.
So I looked it up in Spotlight. She handed me Spotlight. Very responsible.
Yeah.
And I remember it was Markham and Froggatt. I said, Dear Markham, I didn't understand that was an agent's name. I said, Dear Markham, I just wanted you to pass this on to Tim Roth. I think he's the best actor I've ever seen in my whole life.
Wow.
Nice.
And Fountain Pen. Never replied.
Fountain Pen.
Yeah.
Fountain Pen, smashing. You see, that's all right.
I hate writing with Fountain Pen.
The thing with
difficult.
fan letters is, I don't know, not before in my life did I associate lined paper with danger. But now, when I see lined paper, I think I have to be careful about this. As I read it, I could be being watched by someone from an adjacent house.
You think lined paper is one step away from the old school printing out, like sticking in the words from the newspaper different?
Yes.
I think it's basically the preempt to an assassination attempt, usually lined paper. I've got this also. I've got 12,000 publicity pictures, which I had printed. I've got about 10,500 left. And when I had them printed, I had long hair.
Right.
Oh.
So I send them out now. To the
How long
four
was it?
people a year. Really long.
Not your Pitch Invader days.
It was my James May period.
Oh, I remember that.
Oh, yeah.
So I send it out now with my, midlife crisis hair. And people must look at it and think, he must wear it in a barn on Road 101. So, I don't want to get new ones.
Not until you've used up the 10,500.
No, and that could take me, another life. At least one other life. This is, I would find out more about that, but now I've alienated the Dalai Lama. I'll have to use Google. But, so that's... I feel bad about sending them out-of-date pictures. If anyone who's listening who's got one of those, Yes, you, mate. I'm sorry.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Have we got time to pop back to Email Corner briefly?
Oh, go on then.
Why don't we?
I'm not bothering with the...
No, don't.
The
This is
jingle.
from Hugh in Sheffield.
That's basically
That'll
it.
do.
He says, "Hi Frank, Emily and Alan. My friend Tim borrowed my VHS of High Fidelity before my 17th birthday and promised me he'd return it along with the birthday card he'd insisted he'd got me. I turned 28 on the 28th
Oh, wow.
and retain a forlorn hope of receiving these items. Therefore, I refuse to buy the film on DVD or throw away my otherwise dormant VHS player. Forever in hope. Hugh in Sheffield."
You know, what I hate about that is that the VHS and the birthday card that never made it is I'm imagining... what's the name of this person?
This is Hugh in Sheffield.
I'm imagining Hugh's daily ritual involves, first of all, lifting the flap on the letterbox on his door, and then lifting the flap on his VHS recorder. You know that flap on the gap?
Yeah.
The flap on the gap. The flap on the gap is all mine, all mine. The flap on the gap is all mine. That's what I urge all VHS recorder owners to sing.
I worry about Tim, the chap who borrowed it. I imagine that he's got that high fidelity VHS on a shelf, and every now and again it just plagues him. You know, like when I've got books that I know deep down are someone else's, and they just... there's a pang of guilt when my eye just passes across that shelf, and I think,
Well, Frank and I have got an ongoing issue with the Amelie. No, it's not Amelie, but it's an Audrey Tattoo DVD, and there's a book
And the
about
Simon D book.
Yeah,
Yeah, we've got multi guilt. It's not so bad when you got one each, though. It's like a hostage situation.
I can't give you it back now.
Can't you?
No, it's a war of attrition now. We have to maintain the one each.
And I think that I'm worried about the friend, not from a guilt point of view, but has he seen the friend at all since Tim?
friend
Tim.
Tim.
Yeah.
Well, if not,
I mean,
it's
this
a long
could
time,
be a
isn't it?
sort of a very confused missing persons thing. I'd be a bit worried if someone said, "I'll bring that birthday card and the VHS." I didn't hear from them from 11 years. I might want to check, they was all right. We could be talking half man, half mattress.
We could.
So I'm hoping that's okay.
Have we time for another email?
Frustrating. Can I say
Rapido.
one of my all-time favourite films is Independence Day?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, do you like that?
Yeah, and I've only got that on Laserdisc. And it's meant that I've had to keep my Laserdisc player in
Have
a
you still
fairly
got a
prominent-
Laserdisc player?
Well, yeah, I can't just have
It's like the design museum in your house.
But I've kept that. I did have some more modern equipment, but I've put all my Sony equipment in the skip this week. But so I've kept that Laserdisc. I've kept the Laserdisc player just for that one Laserdisc, because I think I'm not going to buy. Why should I buy the DVD of it when I've already got the Laserdisc?
You'd be
Yeah.
right.
They got lovely weight in them. A Laserdisc.
I don't think I've ever used the laser.
Yeah, so I've calculated from the 1970s.
I mean, they look like an album, but they're heavier than an album. You could say if Odd Job was being assaulted
yeah.
and he hadn't got his hat, but he was near a Laserdisc player. If he could reach the eject button, he could kill somebody with one of those. And relax. Okay, I think we're moving. That's the end, really. I think we've got through it. Weren't too bad. I'm particularly pleased with the cigar theme, which ran and ran.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
That'll
Mark.
get an award this time next year.
Yeah, do you think best
Best cigar
most legs on a no-hoper texting? And can I offer our congratulations to Jeff Lloyd and to Christian
Yes.
O'Connell and to I think that's it, isn't it here? Oh, I think Vicky
No,
Blight
Ronnie
and
Wood as
Sarah
well.
Champion and Ronnie Wood. Good luck to all of you. And we only hate the judges. We don't hate you. We love you. The judges and their stupid faces. Anyway, if the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Now get out.
Absolute
Absolute
Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.